everyone. Um, Hello everyone. Today we'll be reading Dragon's Oath by PC Cast and Kristin Cast. In the early 19th century England, long before he's a professor at the Tulsa House of Knight, Brian Lankford, the troublesome yet talented human teen who thinks he can get away with anything, until his father, a wealthy nobleman, has finally had enough and banishes him to America. When Brian is marked by a vampire on the docks and given choice between the London House of Night and the Dragon power ship to America, he chooses the Dragon, a new name and a brand new fate. Becoming a fleeting may be exciting, but it opens a door to a dangerous world. In 1830s St. Louis, the gateway to the West, Dragon Lankford became a sword master and soon realizes there are both biting challenges and beautiful perks, such as Anastasia, the captivating young professor of spells and rituals at the Tower Grove House of Night, who really should have nothing to do with it fleeting. But when a dark power threatens, Dragon is caught in its focus. Though his uncanny fighting skills make him a powerful fleeling, is he strong enough to ward off evil while protecting Anastasia as well? Will his choices save her or destroy them both? Chapter 1. Anger and Confusion. Present-day Oklahoma. Anger and confusion stir within Dragon Lankford. Was never truly taken her leave of them so soon after the death of the boy, their goddess Catesis visit Lankford. What of the boy's fleeting body? Should we not continue to hold vigil with an effort? Dragon Lankford kept his voice calm and his tone even as he addressed his high priestess. Lankford turned her beautiful emerald eyes to him. She smiled smoothly. You are right to remind me, Sword Master. Those of you who honor Jack with purple spirit candles, throw them on the pyre as you leave. The sons of Erebus warriors will hold a vigil over the poor fleeling's body for the remainder of the night. As you wish, Priestess. Dragon bowed deeply to her, wondering why his skin felt so itchy, almost as if he was covered in dirt and grime. He had a sudden insatiable desire to breathe in very, very hot water. It is never his conscience spoken softly to him. She has not been right since Koana broke free of the earth. You used to feel that. Dragon shook his head and set his straw. Perhaps Pharaoh events did not matter. Feelings were no longer important. Duty was all uncompromising. Vengeance was utmost focus. I must keep my mind on the job at hand, he commanded himself, and then nodded quickly to specific warriors. Disperse the crowd. Never paused to speak to Limbana before she disappeared from the center of the campus and headed in the direction of the professor's living quarters. Dragons barely spared her a look. Instead, his attention was pulled back to the fiery pyre and the boy's flaming body. The crowd is being dispersed, Swordmaster. How many of us shall remain to watch by the papaya with you? Asked Christopher, Christopher, one of his senior officers. Dragon hesitated before he answered, taking a moment to center himself as well as to observe the fact that the fledglings and professors who were monitoring around the brightly burning pyre were obviously irritated and thoroughly upset. Duty, when all else fails, turn to duty. Have two of the guards escort the professors back to the quarters. The rest of you are to go with the fledglings. Be quite certain that they return to their rooms. They then stay close to the dormitories for the remainder of this terrible night. Dragon's voice was rough with emotion. The students need to feel the protective presence of their son, of Erebus warriors, so that they can at least be certain of their safety, even if it seems they can be certain of little else. But the child's prior, I will stay with Jack. The dragon spoke with a certain tone that lower allowed no interference. I should not leave the boy's side until the red glow of his embers turned to rust. Do your duty, Christopher. The House of Night needs you. I will see to the sadness that remains here. Christopher bowed and then began calling out commands, following the swordmaster's orders with cold efficiency. It seems only seconds had passed when Dragon realized that he was alone. There he was, the sound of the burning pyre, the dedicated, the decisively soothing pop and crackle of the fire. Except for that, there was not, there was only the night and the vast emphasis in Dragon's heart. The sword master stared into the flames as if he could discover the balm that would soothe his pain within them. The fire flickered amber and gold. The fire flickered amber and gold, rust and red, reminding Dragon of a dedicated piece of jewelry, unique, exalted, tied to a strand of velvet ribbon to the color of fresh blood. As if moving of his own accord, his hand went to his pocket. His fingers closed around the oval disc he found there. It was slim and smooth. He could feel only the faintest hint of the blue bird that once had been etched on the clearly and beautiful on its face. The gold piece rested smugly in his hand. He opened it. He cupped it, protected it, held it before he slowly drew out his hand. The locket nestled within it. Dragon twined the velvet ribbon through his fingers, rubbing it with his thumb in a familiar, absent-minded motion that spoke more of habit than thought. Expelling a deep breath that sounded more sob than sob. He opened his palm and looked down. The light from Jack's pride faded across the locket's golden surface. It caught the bluebird's design. Missouri State Bird Dragon spoke aloud. His voice was devoid of emotion. Though the hand held the locket shook. I wonder if you can still be found wild, perching in the sunflowers that overlook the river, or did your beauty and those of the flowers die out to along with everything else lovely and magical in this world. His hand closed on the locket, gripping it so tightly his knuckles turned white. And then, as quickly as his fist had closed, Dragon released his hold on the locket, opening his hand, turning the oval over and over repeatedly. Before his voice raged, you could have broken it. Trembling fingers had fumbled with the clasp, but when he finally unlatched it, with the gold piece open easily, unharmed, to display a tiny etching that, although faded by time, still showed the smiling face of the petite vampire whose gaze seemed to catch and hold his. How can you be gone, Dragon murmured. One finger traced the old portrait on one side of the locket and then moved to the left half of the jewelry to stroke the single blonde curl that nestled over there, over the empty space where his youthful picture had once been. His gaze turned from the locket up to the night sky, and he repeated the question louder from his soul, crying out for an answer. How can you be gone? As if in response, Dragon heard echoing in the night air the distinct crackling call of a raven. Anger rushed through Dragon so hard and hard that his hands once again trembled. Only this time he did not shake with pain and loss. He shook with the barely control need to strike out to main to avenge. I will avenge her, Dragon's voice was like death. He looked down at the locket again and spoke to the shimmering blonde curl it held. Your dragon will avenge you. I will set to right what I allowed to go wrong. And I will not make the same mistake again, my love, my own. The creature will not go unpunished. On that I pledge to you my oath. A gust of wind, hot from the papaya, blew suddenly strong. It lifted the lock of hair, and while Dragon fumbled unsuccessfully to stop it, the curl floated out of his reach, up, up, on a heated drive, almost feather-like. It hovered there, and then, with a sound much like a woman's gasp or surprise, the hot wind, changed. Inhaling, ground the lock of hair down into the fire pyre, where it turned to smoke and memory. No, Dragon cried, falling to his knees with a sob. And now I've lost the last of you. My fault, he said brokenly. My fault, just as your death was my fault. Though the tears that fell in his eyes, Dragon watched the smoke from his beloved mate's lock of hair whirl and dance before him. Then again some shimmer, magically changing from smoke to a dusting of green and yellow and brown sparkles that continue to curl around and around till they began to separate and form distant parts of an image. The green sparkles became a long, thick stem, the yellow, delicate petals of a flower, with the brown circling within them to become its center. Dragon wiped his eyes out clear tears, hardly ever to believe what he was seeing. A sunflower. His eyes felt as numb with shock as his breath. It is her sunflower, his mind shouted. It must be a sign from her. Anastasia, Dragon cried as numbness gave way to a terrible wave of hope. Are you here, my own? The image of the shimmering sunflower began to waver and change. The yellow fade flowed down in a cascade that became golden blonde, the brown lightened to the color of sun-kissed skin, and the green melted down within the skin, swirling and morphing into the green orbs that became eyes that were turquoise and familiar and dear. Oh, goodness, Anastasia, it is you. Dragon's voice broke as he reached out for her, but the image lifted a glowing tint just beyond his fingertips. He cried out in frustration, and then shifted the sound of his misery as his mate's voice began to spell around him like a musical stream over water-worn pebbles. Dragon held his breath and listened to the ghostly message. I have bestowed this locket for you, my mate. The day has come when death forced us apart. You know that for you forever I shall wait. So until we meet again, I hold your love safely within my heart. Remember your oath, as was to temper strength with mercy. No matter how long apart we shall be, I hold you to that oath eternity, eternally, eternally. The image smiled once at him before it lost its form and returned to smoke and then nothingness. My oath, Dragon started to his feet. First, next, and now you remind me of it. Do you not understand that it is because of that cursed oath that you did? Had I chose differently those many years ago, perhaps I should have kept all of this from happening. Strength tempered by mercy was a mistake. Do you not remember my own? Do you not remember? I do. I will never forget. As Dragon Lankford, some master of the House of Night, held vigil over the body of a fallen fledgling, he stared into the burning fire and let the flames take him back so that he could relieve the pain and pleasure, the tragedy and triumph of a past that had shaped such a heartbreaking future. Well, that'll be it for chapter 1. We will be starting on chapter 2 tomorrow. And again, we'll be reading Dragon's Oath by PC Cass and Kristin Cass, a mother-daughter duo. And it is a total of 145 pages. Until then, bye. See ya. I love you. And hope you have a good evening. And be safe out in this weather.